Alright, so we're currently on Covey Road here in Burlington. We're just looking for the entrance to the Seventh-day Baptist Cemetery here. I believe it's up here on Upsum. Last time we were here, it was blocked off, but it looks like the barrier has been removed, and we will proceed down. And I'm going to park pretty close. Park pretty, a little far from the cemetery. Look at that. That is absolutely beautiful. So I will stop the video for a second just to get out. Okay, so we're now outside, and we're headed towards the cemetery now. This is the Seventh-day Baptist Cemetery, again also known as the Green Lady Cemetery. And we've chosen kind of a drizzly, rainy day here, but came back after a wintry visit a few months back. But as you can see, spectacularly green spring day. This area is a wetland, so if you look over here on my left, this part of the road is inaccessible to us. It's operated by the New Britain Department of Public Works, and is a protected wetland area. Off on my right here, we actually have the cemetery itself. There are some no trespassing signs here, but I've been assured that this is completely accessible during the daytime. Now, this particular cemetery is bounded here by a stone wall, a single stone wall. It gets thicker as you go, but you can see that it's rather irregularly composed, meaning the stones are all different shapes and sizes. Towards the entrance, you see that the height of the wall is diminished. Mostly that's due to vandalism. You get to the side of the wall, sides of the wall here, you begin to start to see the actual shape take shape, and the purpose start to become apparent. Covered in lichen, not a surprise. It's a wetland area here. Larger stones here crafted, or they don't look like they've been hand cut or anything, but although it does look like the lower stones here are flat on the top. That could have been through weathering, or could have been through purpose. But this is a very well constructed stone wall here, especially if you look on the outer outskirts, on the the sides here. There's a beautiful little bird right there. The stones are approximately the same size, especially look at the corner right over there. So this is very well constructed. It's just been beaten down by weather and by paranormal freaks. You can hear the rain coming down here. If we have to retreat, well, we will. It's also bounded by these trees here. Look like, not being a tree expert, these could be oak trees, but you can see that these huge oaks, huge trees springing up all throughout the cemetery. Now, as for the cemetery itself, it's called the Green Lady Cemetery because of a legend of a woman who died in 1800. This area was settled by the Baptists. Baptists we know from Rhode Island. Roger Williams settled there and brought the Baptists to Rhode Island, and some of them came up here in Connecticut in the 18th and 19th century. And the family is the Palmiters, and it's confirmed that members of their family are buried here, and Elizabeth Palmiter is in particular the one that we're interested in, as the legend goes. She died in 1800. In fact, she died April 12th, 1800. The circumstances surrounding her death have been made into legends. All these little dark spots on the ground are headstones, and you can see they're very sparsely spread out here. I think there's a total of about 45 people who are buried here as the rain continues to fall here. Over time, because of the legend of Miss Elizabeth Palmiter, people have come to the cemetery looking for her spirit, looking for her ghost, which allegedly haunts not only the cemetery, but also the road adjacent to it, Covey and Upsum Road. Her marker is no longer here. We'll talk about why that is here in a second. And it could very well be this spot right here. This looks like a freshly removed grave marker right there. That could very well be it. It's something that I'm not sure about. What you'll notice is that as the rain increases, is that none of the stones here are broken. Now, weathering has had a huge effect on this, probably weakening the structure of the stone itself, but what more likely is the vandalism, the people coming to see this Palmiter stone. So what is the story of the Green Lady? Well, right around April 12th, 1800, there was a very late season blizzard. And right before that, Elizabeth's husband Benjamin decided that he was going to go into town and get some supplies for the family, and before the storm hit. And unfortunately, he didn't make it back in time, so he decided to stay back in town rather than risk traveling through the storm. Now, unable to notify his wife, Benjamin, basically was cut off from his wife, and left at home. She feared the worst, and one of the legends is that she ventured out in the blizzard herself in order to find him. She thought he was in peril, and in the course of her search for her husband Benjamin, she fell into the bog, the creek, the swamp, and froze to death as a result. She's called the Green Lady because when her body was allegedly found by her husband several days later, she was wearing a green dress, and as a result, the legend was born. So she's not called the Green Lady because of the spectacular green life blooming all around this cemetery, but rather because of how she was found when she died. Now, is any of this true? The town of Burlington doesn't acknowledge at all that any of this happened. One of the alternate theories is that Benjamin murdered her and dumped her body in the swamp. This has also been strongly denied by the town of Burlington. No record at all that anything like that happens. As far as we know, she just died as a very young woman on April 12th, 1800. Now, all sorts of paranormal people have come in the cemetery doing EVPs, looking for orbs, globules, what have you. But again, we have to go by facts and evidence, and fortunately, there's no evidence of foul play, no evidence that this legend, which really sprang up in the late 20th century, no evidence that there's any veracity to it. Now, there are some stones here we can identify. We've passed one of them earlier here. Let's find it. It belongs to Amy Spencer. It actually has fallen over. I believe it's right over here. And quite ironically, she died April 12th, 1817. And you can see the way the grave marker has fallen. It was initially attached here and then fell over and has sunken in the ground. She was the wife of Michael Spencer, obviously from the stone. So actually, the engraving here is extremely well done. You can really make out all the details of her marker there. And this is the first time I've actually been able to see it, so I'm going to take a photograph of it right now. So, Amy Spencer is one of the denizens here. The other one is a Revolutionary War soldier. I always find this story interesting. His marker is actually partially readable, but this individual was an ensign, and I just have to follow my notes here. Amos Stillman, and this is the grave right here. All you can make out is the top part of it. He died looks like October 7th. Turns out that through Creepy, Connecticut did a great job of reconstructing this. They discovered that this is Amos Stillman's grave. He was an ensign in the 4th Company of the Hopkinton, Rhode Island militia during the Revolutionary War. Born in 1762, he died in 1807 at the age of 45. This is the only other stone that has any readability here. Only one that we can actually read. There was a third, but it's no longer here. Talk about that in a second. You can see all the other ones here. This is lichen growth here. The wetness of this land has really taken its toll on the cemetery. You see broken stones. Now it's hard to make the case that these were damaged by vandals or broken down by weather, but it's known for a fact that this cemetery has suffered its unfortunately far too many cases in which people have done bad things, and we have some people who left roses here. This is a very interesting monument here. Could this have been the location of Elizabeth Palmiter's body? That's something that I actually don't know the question. I actually know the answer to that. Somebody actually left money there too. Looks like it was burned. Now, Elizabeth Palmiter stone, the one that is no longer here, wasn't actually the original. The original was actually destroyed once before, and it was replaced in approximately about 1970, 1971. This is a clear case of a vandal. You have partial markings on that one right there. And we'll post up a picture of what Elizabeth's stone looked like. In 2010, approximately July 21st, a person or persons came into the cemetery and took Elizabeth Palmiter's gravestone. As I say that, we have a bit of a rain shower here. This is a post. Police immediately investigated, and due to the size of the stone and the weight of it, they immediately concluded that it had to be more than one person. And as I just talk about this, I'll have you take a look at this wonderful wall right here. For those of you who appreciate craftsmanship of stone walls from very old cemeteries, this is a beautiful one right here. See the lichen growth. I'm just reading a book about. That was really kind of scary. I'm reading a book about the classification and the beautiful things you can learn about stone walls just by the sizes of the stones, the orientation of the walls itself, the ecosystems that develop around it. And this one has a hole in it. Interesting. Let's just put our camera in, see if we see anything. Pardon the interruption. Okay, so back to the story. I'm diverging here. So July 21st, 2010, at least 2 people came into the cemetery. They stole Elizabeth Palmiter's stone. Police are investigating. It has not been recovered. I would imagine that even if it were recovered, that it wouldn't be brought back. There's just too much. It would just be taken again, or some other wacko will desecrate it further. And you can see what we're dealing with here. It's really unfortunate. I'm seeing broken bottles everywhere. Look at this. Is that Jägermeister? Jesus. That's really unfortunate that people act like this. Unfortunately, the ghost hunting, fervor has really reached a peak in these last few years due to popular shows. And tree growth here is really interesting. Let's get some creepy faces on here. And this cemetery is actually known for a rather unusual tree formation which resembles a woman wrapped up in a blanket. It's supposed to be the northeast corner, which I'm guessing is the one that we're approaching now. And so let's go check it out, see if we can see where this is. I do advise, we'll do our own write-up, but a lot of our research is just going to reference that which was done by Creepy Connecticut. So I give them I give them a big recommendation and a tip of the cap for a job well done here. And somebody was drinking, looks like Monster, right? Beautiful. We should pick that up. So somewhere up in these trees here, somebody spotted, and it was at just the right angle. And that's really hard to... It's all a matter of perspective when you think about it. But that is just a monstrous looking tree. Look at that. Actually, I love creepy trees. Having grown up on the poltergeist, as part of the poltergeist generation. But there is a branch that looks like a woman who is curled up in a blanket. Supposedly the northeastern corner. I'm gonna guess it's this one just from the map. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's not really part of the legend at all, but just something somebody had spotted. Let's take a look here. Looking up, straight up, not seeing much. Ooh. I almost became a permanent resident of this. Yeah, that's very well possible that. Take a picture of that for later. You can go on your own expedition here. So we do have an open slot here. This is where I initially thought the grave was stolen, where Elizabeth Palmiter's grave was stolen from. No way of knowing. Do a little more research online to find out exactly where it is. We have a couple candidates. The one candidate I showed looked like very freshly dug up. And as a result of that, that seems to register to me as being the location, but who knows. So this is a very lush, fertile, verdant cemetery. This is one of my favorites, I have to say. Not because of the creep factor, although that does exist, if you do believe in spirits who inhabit cemeteries, but just for it's very beautiful. Unfortunately, I wish the stones were still intact. Get this very, green environment in which to really appreciate this wonderful the celebration of life. That's how I view cemeteries, celebration of life. I would really like, if I were gone, and it's a good picture of lichen for those of you who are lichen fanatics like me. If I were buried, I'd want people to visit me, including people who didn't know me. I would hope that I would have made that much of a difference in life. But anyway, so this is the cemetery. This is the Green Lady Cemetery. It's kind of affectionately known as that, but really we're talking about here, this is the Seventh-day Baptist Cemetery here in Burlington. Second trip here, I have not seen a Green Lady. But I have seen evidence of vandalism, but yet still a very, very beautiful place. Very, very peaceful. Look how green that grass is. And this is just starting in spring here. You imagine what this is going to look like in the summertime. So we'll travel a little further down the road here, and we'll look at what could be one of a dwelling. It's within the no trespassing region, so we'll look at it from the road. And we'll look at a possible dwelling, rumored to be that of Elizabeth and Benjamin Palmiter. Again, there's no record that that's actually the case. But we'll sign off here from the beautiful, wonderful Green Lady Seventh-day Baptist Cemetery in Burlington.